443rd consecutive Duke home game. It is a sellout as the Hawks of Hartford have come to Durham to take on the third-ranked Blue Devils. Bob Wischusen alongside LaFonso Ellis. And what to watch for, LaFonso? It can be a nightly highlight reel that Zion Williamson can provide. Really excited to watch this young man. And in spite of the fact that he is a highlight reel, you believe he's an X factor from a basketball perspective for this team in more ways than one.
Most explosive player in all of college basketball. Unguardable when he catches the basketball on the low post. 61, folks, of his 82 made field goals have come around the rim. I'd like to see Duke, who already has an efficient offense, third in the nation, get him touches around the rim. There's no one who can guard him in the country in the low post.
The only player in the ACC so far in the non-conference schedule that is outscoring Zion Williamson is his teammate R.J. Barrett, and fresh back from the funeral of George H.W. Bush, his Coach K. Mike Krzyzewski was part of a contingent that went from Durham up to Washington, D.C. to be a part of the memorial yesterday, the funeral today, and he literally arrived here at Cameron Indoor Stadium 90 minutes before tip. John Gallagher, well, he's got his Hawks in a situation tonight. We talked to him at shoot-around earlier today, very realistic about the challenge that his team is up against. He said, we basically need Villanova and 85 against Georgetown in order to be competitive, but he still thinks that there are goals that can be accomplished tonight for his team.
For this team to have a chance, they've got to make at least 12 made threes in this game. 15 may keep it competitive.
And he said he wanted his team to pack it in and force Duke to take shots from the outside if possible. And if Duke is making their threes, what can you do? That is a high percentage way to start for Marquise Bolden.
4 around the perimeter. Marquise Bolden inside, sealed up the lane, and what a beautiful pass over the top, and the big fellow with the finish.
Backdoor cut, Witherington. That is blocked by Bolden at the rim. Williamson for 3. And that is a shot Hartford will be happy to give up all night long.
Absolutely. Coming into this game, Zion Williamson was 2 of 12 from the three-point line, now 2 of 13. If they can keep him out on the perimeter, it's a plus for Hartford.
Jason Dunn fades away. That's off the heel. Trey Jones taps it, and it ends up with Cam Reddish.
He's got to go. No double team coming. Make a quick move to the basket.
Foul called on John Carroll. That might be the last player that Hartford can afford to have in foul trouble.
Indeed.
As John Gallagher told us, he believes John Carroll might be the player of the year in the American East this year.
Watch how Bolden catches this basketball here. When you look and see that there's no one there, he's taking way too long. You got to catch that thing, make a quick move, and go. No one can guard him inside with that size. 6'11", 250 on the interior. Got to catch and go quickly. Coach John Gallagher told us that he wants to get Cam Reddish involved in as many exchanges as possible, number 2 in white. Hasn't worked too well so far here early in this game.
Carroll spins, fades away. That's in and out. Williamson, wow, explodes to the goal.
No defensive transition awareness for Hartford. You cannot leave Zion Williamson open at the rim.
J.R. Lynch stepped on the end line.
And folks, look at here. Trey does a great job of getting into the lane, forces you to help up, and when you help up, it opens up the baseline underneath. And what a terrific pass to one of the elite finishers in all of college basketball. Little zone here from Hartford. The middle of the ACC by pass or by the dribble will be good for Duke.
Reddish jump stop taken away. Jason Dunn ends up with the loose ball. And here comes J.R. Lynch. Try and settle things down. Gets Bolden caught on a switch. Shot clock under 10. Leaning in with the left hand, just a little bit too strong, but the putback is there for Blagojevich.
Well, what I love about it is he caught that basketball and went quick once he recognized the mismatch out there on the floor.
Attacking with the left hand, and missing was R.J. Barrett. Nice crossover by Lynch. The reverse rolls off. Allowing the flyby is Reddish. Can't hit the three. John Gallagher told us the theme tonight, at least early on, was surviving the first 5 minutes. Hartford at least has done that.
They have. They've moved the basketball around the horn, moving this defense from side to side, but they've got to get some penetration into the blue painted area.
Carroll's shot blocked by Bolden. Barrett. Yes.
He's so good. If you don't pick him up or give help before he gets below the foul line, you can absolutely forget it. A tremendous finisher with either hands around the rim, number 5 in white.
Carroll drives it. Offensive foul. Trey Jones took the charge.
Well, this is the Hartford group that stood around here and stood their ground. This is what Coach Gallagher wanted, energy from the bench.
Duke with the early 4-point lead. Bob Wischusen, LaFonso Ellis back here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Our first opportunity to take a look at this Duke team in person. Now, these 4 freshmen could not have received more off-season publicity. They've lived up to that billing. A close loss to Gonzaga, but they've got top 10 wins, a blowout against Kentucky, a win against Auburn as well. What's impressed you about this group so much, at least thus far early in the season?
The ability to defend. They have a great offense. They're 3rd best offense in the nation, but it's been their defense that I've been so impressed with. Remember, this has been a Duke team over the last couple years that have not been able to contain the dribble drive. So to look up and see this team, the 9th most efficient defense in the nation, that's a good deal for the Duke Blue Devils.
It was interesting talking to Mike Krzyzewski earlier tonight that these players, when you are the super elite recruit, don't get asked to play defense at the high school level the way that you have to play at this level. And that's kind of an unknown, isn't it, for a coach, how a group of freshmen are going to mold defensively?
Absolutely. And one of the things that Coach K talked about when we met with him before the game is, yes, he has size and he has length, but he also has lateral quickness within that length. And I think that's what makes them a really good defensive team. But it starts at the point guard position with Trey Jones, number 3 in white, who's an outstanding one-on-one defender.
Zion Williamson on the bench for the first time, missing point blank was Blagojevich. The foul called just before we went to break on John Carroll was a hurtful one for Hartford. That's his 2nd. He has to sit down as well.
And folks, that's 18 points per game that Hartford's missing.
Offensive rebound and a putback for R.J. Barrett.
And when you're playing against Duke, Bob, there's 2 things that you have to prevent playing against this team. You can't give them easy opportunities, in this case, second chance opportunities on the offensive glass, and you can't turn it over. They're one of the most explosive transition teams in the nation.
Extra pass to the corner. Carroll in and out.
Yeah, those are shots that, unfortunately, tonight Hartford can ill afford to miss. A wide open corner 3, one of the easiest 3s in the game.
Little too strong for Reddish. So John Gallagher is rolling the dice, probably has no choice but to leave Carroll on the floor with 2 fouls, knowing he can't pick up his 3rd. At least not until much deeper into the game. Jason Dunn. In and out for three.
And he's the one guy that can have the ability to knock down big shots as Cam Reddish makes a smooth move to the basket. Jason Dunn shooting 43% from three, and they need him to be able to knock down shots, number 12 in red.
Duke with the early 8-point lead, and all 10 of their points have come in the paint. A steal. David DeLaurier gets to hang from the rim.
Bob, Duke switching 1 through 5 and playing up in the passing lanes. You have to be stronger, make yourself more available, and look to go back door against an overly aggressive Duke D.
Lynch, the finger roll won't go. Blagojevic draws the foul. Saturday on ESPN, we've got an afternoon of college hoops, a doubleheader that begins at 3:30 Eastern. Good old-fashioned Big East hatred between Georgetown and Syracuse squaring off at the Carrier Dome, and then Duke hosts Yale right here at Cameron Indoor. A Yale team that's been dangerous so far this season. You can always watch it live on the ESPN app as well.
And folks, I know you don't get a chance to see Georgetown as much, but they have a center inside named Jesse Govan, who's a double-double guy every single night. And under the tutelage of Patrick Ewing has become a really good low-post player. And they're going to need him to have one of those double-doubles playing against that good half-court zone of Syracuse.
How weird will it be for Jim Boeheim to look down the sideline and see Patrick Ewing as the head coach at Georgetown?
A little awkward. I think Patrick should go ahead and pull out the white towel and put it on his shoulders.
Blagojevic is able to create a turnover.
Yeah, Hartford is battling out there. They've just not been able to knock down their wide open shots, and Duke is doing a great job of playing up in the passing lanes, making it very difficult for them to get ball reversal, something that Coach Gallagher talked about this morning that was vitally important for them to have success on the offensive end.
Dunn. That pass caroms off of Blagojevic.
It's got to come to a jump stop there.
Over 4 minutes now for Hartford with no points. Alex O'Connell. That's a little too strong.
Hartford content with trying to take the air out of the basketball, not looking to make this a track meet because of the superior athletes of the Duke Blue Devils.
Blagojevic leans in. O'Connell to Williamson, and he hit the front of the rim. Extra pass in the corner. A three. White a little too strong.
Yes. Even his
Finally,
misses.
a player is able to make a triple, as knocking one down from the wing was Max Twyman.
Yeah, hadn't taken
Duke is 0 for 7 from three, and Hartford hadn't hit one before just then.
And they need a lot more of that tonight. The number's 12 to 15 for Hartford.
Zion Williamson with the putback.
I don't know when the last time I got excited about a guy who missed a dunk. I mean, every time he winds it up, it just makes you want to jump up out your seat.
A block by DeLaurier. It'll be a goaltend as he got it after it went off the backboard. So score the bucket for J.R. Lynch. Exciting miss, you say?
Oh, look at this. I mean, I jumped up out of my seat as soon as he jumped up. I haven't been that excited for a miss in a long time.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Continental Tire, for what you do.
Bob Shoes and LaFonso Ellis back at Cameron and getting a rare treat, at least in terms of the Irish influence in college basketball. There are only 4 Division I players in all of college basketball from Ireland, and one plays for the Hartford Hawks, John Carroll from Dublin, who His head coach, John Gallagher, believes has a very good chance to be the America East Player of the Year this year. And Hartford creates a turnover.
He plays and practices with great intensity, which raises the level of intensity for his entire team.
Jason Dunn. That's a brick. Trey Jones the other way. Crosses over and finishes.
Bob, a rushed or a bad shot is almost like a turnover, which both lead to easy opportunities in transition. That ball didn't change sides of the floor at all, something Coach John Gallagher desperately wanted.
Trey Jones picks the pocket of J.R. Lynch. Takes it away. And Lynch is called for the foul.
And folks, you want to know why Duke is the 9th most efficient defense in the nation? It starts with number 3 in White. Look at how he moves his body, keeping the ball in front of him, and those long arms able to post that thing out. And he finishes the play with a dive on the floor. You think this Duke team doesn't want it? They want it. I consider them to be the best team in all of college basketball.
When Trey's older brother Tyus was being recruited by Mike Krzyzewski, Trey was only 13 years old, sat in on the recruiting visit, took Mike Krzyzewski on a little tour of the house. Mike Krzyzewski knew that he probably had another Jones on his way to play for him when Trey opened up his bedroom door and there were posters of Duke National Championships
Really?
all over his bedroom wall. So he pushed Tyus Jones in a big way to come to Duke because it was his dream school. And there's another goaltend. Score the bucket for Hartford, and the Hawks are hanging in there.
Yeah, tough and hard-nosed Trey Jones, number 3 in White, but he's got cool hair, too. I got a little hair envy tonight.
We are the hair envy team of all of college basketball at ESPN.
He's got a sick do.
Zion Williamson through a double team. Nice skip pass to the corner to Reddish. Williamson takes it away, but then throws it right to Carroll.
Hartford's got to get number 20, Marquise Bolden, involved in some ball screens, and they'll find some opportunities for attacks to the rack.
At 3 again, off the mark for Jason Dunn. Barrett hits a triple.
Duke's ball movement in transition is top-notch. Cam Reddish could have taken that shot, but he saw that R.J. Barrett was flashing out to the corner. Ball didn't stick in his hands, and able to deliver that thing right on time. See, this is where they have to take advantage when they get Bolden out in space.
Bolden gets the block, but a foul is called. So J.R. Lynch will shoot free throws when we come back as Marquise Bolden is called for his first. R.J. Barrett reminds LaFonso Ellis of who? Some interesting comparisons for the Duke star with Fonz when we come back. R.J. Barrett, Fonz, who do you see as being someone we can compare him to?
Well, he's got a little bit of left-handed in him, so I think of James Harden right away. And his ability, left-handers are just hard to guard anyway, but his ability at his size to be able to change speed, change direction, and once he gets you on his hip and shoulder, you can forget about it. He's finishing at the rim with either a smooth little lefty layup or finger roll, or he'll dunk it on you too.
He won every high school award that there was to win. He was the consensus #1 recruit, the Morgan Wooten National Player of the Year, the 9th Morgan Wooten winner to come to Duke. But he won the Gatorade Player of the Year, Max Preps, USA Today, the Naismith Player of the Year. The last player that swept all of those National Player of the Year awards in high school was LeBron. So,
you know what's scary, Bob? He reclassified. He actually should be a senior in high school. Can you imagine him coming at you as a senior in high school? I mean, he's making college kids look like they're the junior varsity team in high school. How can you imagine him? Can you imagine that?
And right on cue, the announcer Jinx works to perfection. We're talking about him racking up every piece of hardware in the history of high school basketball, and he throws up an air ball from 12 feet.
it happens.
A takeaway at midcourt by Reddish. The lob. Great finish by Delorier off the feed from Trey Jones.
Great athleticism there by Delarier, but I don't think the passers on those lobs get enough credit. Tre Jones put that basketball right where it needed to be for Delarier to go up and finish.
Jason Dunn looking for his shot. Instead, it's to the corner. That one's off the mark from Lynch, but a foul call. Nope, check that. It just is a carom out of bounds. It'll be Hartford's ball.
The athleticism out there on the floor for Duke, incredible. Everything is happening above the rim. Dunks, block shots, transition dunks. It is incredible, the elite level of athleticism out there on the floor for the Blue Devils. It's good ball movement.
Poked away to midcourt. Williamson after it, and his hustle kept the play alive. A scramble and a foul call. And that is going to go against Duke as J.R. Lynch was popped. That's going to be Delarier.
And folks, this is why I love Zion Williamson. I mean, my goodness, gives up his body, getting on the floor, trying to come up with the possession for his team. I remember going back to a preseason game that they played, an exhibition game, and the game was really out of hand. Who is it diving on the floor trying to keep a ball alive for his teammates? Zion Williamson. That's the type of player he is. The commitment to winning with the little things is why I've been so impressed with number 1 in white. With this group in, Hartford's got to get number 12, Javin Delarier, involved in some exchanges to get that switch and look to try to take him off the dribble. Good shot fake.
Done for 3. Finally, he knocks one down. He had made 11 threes in the last 2 games for the Hawks, averaging 3 made threes per game. But he threw up some ugly ones to start. Maybe that gets Jason Dunn on track, as Hartford's only down 7. Hartford is now down 10.
And just the vision that Tre Jones has, whether it's against man or zone, he knows exactly where his players are on the floor. And most players will just pass it, but he puts it on your hands where you can be in rhythm to take the shot.
Barrett in double figures as he makes the 3 and nearly gets a steal as well. Lynch hands one off with the shot clock winding down, and Carroll able to hit the 15-footer.
That's a big one because number 5 in Scarlett has to get going if for Hartford to have a chance in this game. He's been quiet so far in the first half.
Unable to get the roll from the corner was Cam Reddish.
Yeah, Reddish is a really good three-point shooter, but he's been shooting a couple of those off balance. He's got to make sure he's on balance to let that thing go because he's got one of the sweetest strokes in all of college basketball.
Turns the corner, and that's blocked. Barrett throws it to the corner. Weatherington able to recover for the Hawks. Zion Williamson got a hand in, and the loose ball ends up with Duke. Blocking foul is called on Dunn. Saturday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, we will have the 84th annual Heisman Trophy ceremony from New York City. Find out which quarterback will take home the most coveted individual award in college football. You can also catch it on the ESPN app from anywhere. Tua's got some Instagram followers, I would think. There's a couple of those Heisman guys that have Instagram followers, but do any of them compare with Zion Williamson? No, you add up Dwayne Haskins,
exactly.
Kyler Murray, and Tua Tagovailoa, and you're not even a third of the way there. From the elbow, it's Jones.
I apologize to all those guys. I would love to follow them under normal circumstances, but I'm not a social media guy. You forgive me for that, Bob?
You're just a social guy.
Yes. Actually, I'm a media guy now that I think about it, right?
Hey, you're social, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Blagojevic, a little too strong. Good hustle, though, by Weatherington.
Pass.
Blagojevic patiently is able to reverse one home.
Well,
and Hartford keeps this at a single-digit deficit.
They've been super patient on the offensive end, not panicking because of the overplay of the defense, and starting to get some dribble penetration into the painted area and making good decisions once they get there.
O'Connell's miss, tapped around. Bolden muscles one up, draws a foul. So Marquise Bolden will go to the line.
His development has been slow, Marquise Bolden. Look at the patient offense here from Hartford. They've been absolutely terrific with getting into the painted area. Coach John Gallagher loves it on the sideline.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. An 8-point lead for Duke. Bob Wischusen and LaFonso Ellis here at Cameron.
All of 13 had better.
And Bolden able to extend the lead to
right
9,
there.
but a Duke team so far,
And you dropped
Franz,
your pen.
that is 2 for 14 from 3, which is the exact statistical line that John Gallagher said his team needed to see to stay in the game, and that was Duke shooting poorly from downtown.
Yeah, Duke was getting anything that they wanted against the man-to-man, but then all of a sudden Hartford went into this zone, and I'm surprised with the size, length, and scoring ability that Duke's had such a tough time with it. Look at this, folks. 1 for 12 to start the game, now 6 of their last 11. Freshmen from Duke continue to dominate the game with 20 of the 28 points.
Shot clock winding down. Blagojevic, little too strong off the backboard. Trey Jones to White in the corner. That's a triple buried by Jack White. Foul called at midcourt on Alex O'Connell. That's his first. Zion Williamson back in. O'Connell sits down. Bolden is back on the bench as well. And Dunn got caught in no man's land trying to find Wetherington and threw it away.
Well, Cam Reddish faked like he was going to go to the baseline and came back to the wing area, caused him to freeze in the air and turn that basketball over. With this lineup in for Duke, they've got to get that basketball into the ACC area, either by the pass or by the bounce, and look to the baseline.
The finger roll, just a little too strong for Cam Reddish. And Cam Reddish then is called for the foul.
Yeah.
That's his first.
And Bob, I'd like to see, I know he's not because he's making the play, but when Zion Williamson catches that basketball anywhere in the blue, I'd like to see him be aggressive and get to the rim. I thought that was a missed opportunity there. I've said before, there's no one that can guard him when he catches the basketball in an area because of his speed, quickness, and explosiveness around the rim. Drive and kick has been really good for Hartford, especially over the last 10 minutes.
Lynch is going to have to force one up. Shot clock winding down. Does a good job to fake Barrett with 1 second on the shot clock and draw the foul.
Yeah, R.J. Barrett, 6'7", long arms. J.R. Lynch, 5'10", barely. That's where you have to use your length, keep your hands up, make him shoot it over the top. There's no way that R.J. Barrett should have gone for that pump fake, but what a nice fake by J.R. Lynch.
Now, Barrett's got all the accolades. No one knows who J.R. Lynch is, but that was a veteran move because that's a senior on a freshman. Well, that's all Hartford has. That was one of the hopes that John Gallagher had coming into this game.
Yeah.
All 5 of his starting seniors basically play 85 to 90% of the minutes and account for 94% of the points. When we asked him at shoot-around today, who will be the guys that will have the attitude of, I don't care that I'm at Cameron. I don't care that this is Duke. Let's go play. He said, really, my whole team, led certainly by Carroll and also by Lynch, but he's got guys that have been through the wars with him and have played a lot of minutes. And as you saw for Duke going up against an inexperienced team that's led by 4 freshmen.
Yeah, Hartford, the most experienced team in the nation, and I think it's actually borne out here in this first half. At one point, it looked like Duke had the momentum and they were just going to run away and hide. But now all of a sudden, Hartford goes to that 2-3 zone. They keep Duke off the offensive glass. And when they're on their offensive end, the Hawks, is they've been patient, moving the basketball from side to side, creating exchanges to get Marquise Bolden, Duke's big, involved, and they've been able to drive him. So I like the patience that I've seen from the Hartford Hawks. But to your point, Bob, something that we would anticipate and expect from a veteran ball club.
Well, eventually, talent will take over. Eventually, Duke will run away and hide in this game. They're playing poorly, and they're up 11 as Williamson turns it over. But the composure you're seeing from Hartford is not something that is a surprise to their head coach. He said if nothing else, his team would feel like they belong in the moment, at least, of playing with Duke here in the first half.
And he continued to say in that shoot-around, stay in character.
That's
What's
right.
in character for them is to move that basketball side to side and be disciplined on the offensive end. They've been that so far in this game. What a drive.
Lynch with the shot clock winding down again. Able to reverse one home, and again, Hartford cuts the lead back to single digits.
That's staying in character.
Reddish. Zion Williamson lost the rebound, knocked out of bounds, and it will stay with Duke.
And folks, Cam Reddish, number 2 in white, is a much better three-point shooter than he's shown tonight. He's shooting 43% on the season, but he has had a rough night tonight. He rarely misses wide open shots.
Eddie Davis checks in for John Carroll as John Gallagher wants to protect his best player from picking up a third foul. Williamson, offensive rebound. You can't defend that.
Yeah, you let him get inside position, you can forget it, and that's exactly what he did there.
First points since the midway point of the first half for Zion Williamson, and a timeout is called by J.R. Lynch. We're stepping aside for 30 seconds and coming right back.
Did you know with Vanishing Deductible, you can earn $100?
Bob Wischusen, LaFonso Ellis back here at Cameron, and Hartford loses track of Zion Williamson.
Yeah, you can never do that because of his ability to get on that offensive glass. He's so big down there, and once he catches it, it's either going to be a foul or it's going to be a foul and one. And so you have to root him out of there and make him jump over your back. Missed opportunity there for the Hartford Hawks.
Swooping to the goal and laying it in is J.R. Lynch.
No communication between Jack White, 41 in white, and Zion Williamson, number 1 in white, which created that open lane for J.R. Lynch to attack.
And Mike Krzyzewski seems a little exasperated with his young team here in the first half as Hartford keeps this at a single-digit deficit.
Yeah, we talked about exchanges. Look at his face there. One of the things that he's talked about with this young group is communication. Clearly, someone in that exchange didn't communicate to one another. 2 guys went to 1, which opened up that lane for J.R. Lynch. And if there's one thing that he's preached all year long, Coach K, off-season and the early part of this season is communication. The Blue Devils didn't get it done there.
J.R. Lynch has scored the last 6 for Hartford. And the Hawks acquitting themselves quite nicely here in the first half at Cameron, taking a Duke team that comes into tonight's game number 1 early in the ACC before conference play begins, but number 5 in America, scoring 94.3 points per game. They put up a $118 against Kentucky. They've only got 33 points here in the first half at home against Hartford. As Trey Jones dribbles the clock down, leans in, offensive foul. That's the first turnover for Trey Jones since the second half against Gonzaga.
What a terrific job moving his feet, keeping him in his chest. And that's George Blagojevich, who's a 6'8", 220-pound senior, moving his feet beautifully there. The defense is allowed to either move laterally or move backwards, and he did both there. Well done by number 4, Red.
Here's Dunn. Clock winding down. From NBA range. Just a little too strong. So Duke with a 9-point lead at halftime. How surprised are you?
Oh, very surprised, but Hartford has done a terrific job of controlling the tempo, primarily with their zone defense on the defensive end.
33-24, our score at the break. Time for the halftime report. Sean Farnham and Dallin Cuff in the studio. Let's go back to Chris Cotter. Chris? Thank you.
Stay in character, Coach John Gallagher of Hartford, and they've been in character on the offensive end.
Well, Mike Krzyzewski told us before the game he believes this team, even as young as it is, has a chance to be one of the best defensive teams that he's ever had at Duke. They have meshed really well. They've got side-to-side lateral quickness, athleticism, length. Add all that up, and they should be a really tough team at the defensive end. But there was another high percentage look. A backdoor cut for John Carroll to start off the second half for Hartford.
Yeah, that time Marquise Bolden, number 20 in white, caught looking at the basketball. And when you catch a guy looking and his head's to you should cut to the basket. And that's exactly what the Hawks did there. This guy, number 2, Cam Reddish, has got to get it going. He's averaging 16 points on the year, 1 from 8 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, 2 points in that first half.
And that time Zion Williamson just exerts his will to the front of the rim.
Yeah, you gotta let the big dog eat down low. Duke only shot 2 free throws in the first half. Way too many jump shots. Number 1 in white, they got to give him a steady diet down to the low post.
Blue Devils were 3 for 16 from 3 in the first half. Williamson takes it away. Gives it up to Barrett. Fouled. And hit the underside of the rim. That's the 3rd foul on John Carroll.
And folks, you've heard me say how much I love this kid, number 1 in white, Zion Williamson. Look at the hustle there. Creates a little tap, doesn't give up on the play, comes up with the possession and the ability to push it and make good decisions in transition. Zion Williamson is a monster, whether he's on the defensive end or on the offensive end. Doing a magnificent job for the Blue Devils.
R.J. Barrett off to a terrific start in a Duke uniform, averaging just over 23 points per game. Number 1 scorer right now in the ACC. Of course, we're approaching conference play, but the numbers that Duke has put up so far this season are real. They've played legit competition already, going to Maui and playing Gonzaga, playing a top 10 Auburn team, starting off the season with a top-ranked matchup against Kentucky.
R.J. Barrett, at least 20 points in 7 of the 8 games. He's been terrific. And a mismatch inside. That basketball's got to go to number 5 in red, John Carroll, quickly.
Weatherington can't get the roll. The back tap, run down by J.R. Lynch. Carroll along the baseline, scores it, plus the foul.
How about the fearlessness of John Carroll? Could have settled for the 3-point shot out there. But number 5 in scarlet gives up the shot, drives it, hangs in the air, and draws a little contact from Zion Williamson and still keeps his eyes on the basket, able to finish over the top. That was pretty. Carroll's been plagued by a lot of injuries over the last 2 years, but last year came back strong, averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds as they knocked down a big 3 there from Jason Dunn.
Dunn hits the 3 off the offensive rebound by Blagojevich. Timeout called by Duke. Hartford down by 5 and feeling it here at Cameron.
Jordian's asked, when it comes to
but you wouldn't know it from the 2 coaches. John Gallagher, is he fired up, celebrating with the 100 or so Hartford folks that have made their way down to Cameron behind his bench. And Coach K, displeased. Bob Wischusen, LaFonso Ellis, and Fonz, why is Coach K displeased?
Well, watch this on a defensive rebound off of a free throw. Can't come up with it. A back tap to J.R. Lynch, and he just drills it. So Coach K was concerned about his team potentially being brain dead this week because of the papers and projects that were due this week, finals coming up. And they've made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes here on both ends, but you got to give the Hartford Hawks a lot of credit. They've been solid on the defensive end and patient on the offensive end.
And Reddish can't hit the 3. Duke is now 3 for 17 as a team from behind the arc.
75 to 100 fans here, several of them at the shoot-around today. They are well represented tonight in Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Dunn can't hit another from NBA range. R.J. Barrett. Offensive foul. J.R. Lynch drew the charge.
And folks, watch as R.J. Barrett is coming in here, and you just have to fight that tendency when the little guy to want to muscle him there. Uses that inside arm there to create a little contact. That's a good call by the official. And how about J.R. Lynch giving up his body there? Well done by number 13 in scarlet. I expect Duke to try to trap some of these exchanges. They've got to speed up the pace of this game. This game is being played at a Hartford pace right now. Very deliberate.
Lynch lost it. Williamson crosses over. Can't finish. The back tap right to Trey Jones. Yes.
Missed the shot, Zion, but active on the glass, keeping that ball alive for his team. But Hartford's been really good when they've been able to reverse the basketball or dribble handoff or get in ball screen situations with the bigs of Duke and then look to drive it. Too much dribbling out there right now.
Foul called, I believe. On the reach by Jones. That's his second. It's been a long time since Duke lost to a non-conference opponent at home. St. John's back in February of 2000. Three of these freshmen weren't born yet.
Wow. Makes me feel a little old.
Done. Lost it. Blagojevich finds it. Back outside Wetherington. And the long rebound to Zion Williamson. Williamson has it poked away, but right to Jones. Williamson with the follow.
He just never gives up on the play.
Done. Lost it. Shut down by Delorier. Although Delorier dribbled it on the baseline. So it will stay with Hartford when we come back. Duke by 9. Early second half.
Friends.
Y'all play football. Y'all can go anywhere for football.
Zion go to Alabama.
I'd probably go to Alabama. Like,
You wouldn't go to Clemson?
actually, no. I'd probably it'd be Clemson, Alabama. Yeah.
If you want a great behind-the-scenes, all-access look into Duke basketball, it's something you can only see on ESPN+. Earn everything. That's the Blue Devils' motto this season. So if you want a chance to see some behind-the-scenes footage of Coach K and Zion Williamson and the rest of these Duke Blue Devils as they get ready for their season, the Canadian trip is chronicled. Start your free trial of ESPN+ and watch all 8 episodes. An offensive foul called on John Carroll off the inbound, and that is a killer for Hartford. Their best player just picked up his 4th with 15:55 to go.
And folks, during that timeout, Zion Williamson walked over to R.J. Barrett and Javin DeLaurier, slapping the both of them on the hand and getting those guys juiced, energized. And I think that led to that little charge there by R.J. Barrett, who you saw was enthusiastic about taking that charge.
Hartford has hung in all night and kept this game at least interesting. Can they do it now without their best player? As Carroll's on the bench with 4, and how long does he sit? White forces one to Barrett, bullets it inside to Williamson. The tip follow is there for DeLaurier.
That's an area that we felt that Duke could exploit because of their size and length on the interior. Hartford doing a poor job of their getting box outs, and Javin DeLaurier and those guys are too long not to get a body on, taking advantage on that possession. You can slowly start to feel the defensive intensity from the Duke Blue Devils start to pick up. The Hawks have to continue to be patient.
Done. Off the mark from the corner. Trey Jones with the left hand. Is this the Duke explosion that you've been waiting for all night?
Trey Jones
They'll have to wait for a moment because Trey Jones shaking up on that drive. And he's going to head over to the bench. So Jordan Goldwire jumps up to the scorer's table.
Take a look at this, and this is where Duke excels. They're so good out in transition because of unselfish play. The defensive player doesn't step up. Trey Jones keeps going. He just took an awkward fall. I thought he may have fallen on that left hand there. I don't want to speculate, but
how about this? John Carroll back on the floor with 4.
Coach John Gallagher can feel the momentum shifting here, and wants his best, he's going to roll the dice and put his best player back on the floor.
He gets shut down underneath.
You got 3 guys around in there, 3 white shirts. You got to become a passer underneath. No way you're getting that shot off. Hartford has to stay in character here, Bob. Move that ball from side to side and look to drive it as they did in first half. That was a good formula for the Hawks.
Shot clock at 5. There's the backdoor cut and the finish by Travis Weatherington.
That's staying in character. A ball reversal, cuts, dribble drive on exchanges. That was beautiful.
Williamson hit the back of the rim with the dunk attempt. Jason Dunn the other way. He'll attack, lean in. That's blocked up off the backboard by Deloria. Blagojevich.
3 seconds.
And it is a turnover signaled by Roger Ayers as Hartford gives it up.
Yeah, 3 seconds there on George Blagojevich. Did a great job keeping that ball alive, but didn't get out of the painted area. That was a good call by the official.
Cam Reddish back in the game. He'll replace Williamson.
Nice pass.
Shovels one to Deloria.
It's the one thing I really like about Cam Reddish. Obviously, we know about his shooting prowess. Not shooting the ball well tonight, but making a contribution that time off the bounce with the pass.
Carroll. Is that an offensive foul?
He's gone.
He fouls out with 13:51 to go.
And Bob, I talk to kids about this a lot. We don't see this much in college basketball anymore. The jump stop when you get into an area and draw a secondary defender. That time he kept moving, and I thought that was a good call by the official. Deloria was certainly there.
You thought Deloria had established position?
I did.
That's a frustrating end for the best player for Hartford to go to the bench with 5 fouls with this much time left. Skip pass, Goldwire, in and out.
And with this group on the floor now for the Hartford Hawks with John Carroll out, Jason Dunn, number 12 in Scarlet, is going to have a huge second half to have a chance to win it down the stretch. Good ball movement.
Weatherington, it's a 3. 10-point game, timeout Hartford. It's additionally a tough blow for John Carroll to foul out because he dreamed of playing in this building. This is him as a 14-year-old taking a picture at a Duke basketball camp with Mike Krzyzewski, and his mom kind enough to send this picture to John Gallagher, who forwarded it on to us. So she still got it on her phone, and he brought a Duke National Championship poster. It's tough to see what that says, but it says, "To John, follow your dreams," Mike Krzyzewski. Wow. So he got that autographed by Coach K when he came to camp, and still has it as a keepsake. And now all these years later, as a 5th-year senior, gets a chance to play in this building. Fouls out with 13+ minutes to go.
Yeah, that's tough. What a great story, though, and what an awesome competitor. And for Hartford to win the America East, he's going to have to be great night in and night out. What a tough competitor. Ball's got to touch that foul line area and look to skip it or to attack off the drive. Nice pass.
Taken away, though, by Trey Jones. The very rare turnover. for Jones. He has a 6-to-love assist-to-turnover ratio coming into tonight. Number 2 in America. But he's given it away a couple of times tonight. Ilyevic comes up short.
He's got to go quicker when he gets that mismatch down there. The read was great. His move was way too slow.
Barrett. He'll go to the line. Catch Sports Center later tonight on ESPN after the buzzer with Scott Van Pelt. Tim Legler joins the show to break down Jimmy Butler's impact on Philly. Plus Duke and Zion Williamson playing here. You'll have highlights of this game. Speaking of dunks, SVP's favorite slams from the NBA and the college hardwood this season so far. It's Sports Center on ESPN and the ESPN app. I'm guessing there's going to be a Zion Williamson in there somewhere.
How about the pickup for the Sixers of Jimmy Butler? I mean, I love Jimmy Butler going all the way to Marquette. Back in his Marquette days, two-way player, a guy who you can give it to, who can create his own shot, a guy who you can give it to in the end of game situations, and he can knock down big threes as we saw last week. What a great pickup by the 76ers.
Good enough to beat Kawhi in Toronto?
Not that good. Not that good.
That'll be a fascinating story to watch.
Yes,
Not only the rest of this season, but is the experience in Toronto, as Dunn tries a three and hits, is the experience in Toronto going to be so much fun and so special, and maybe that Toronto team gets to the finals with Kawhi, that Kawhi Leonard says, you know what, I know I'm a free agent next year, but I don't want to go play with LeBron in LA. I'm staying put, because that was not the scenario that anyone thought we would see.
Yeah, I was certainly shocked by it, but you know, sometimes success, the sweet taste of success, can cause a level of comfort, to your point, Bob, that he may be very content staying up in Canada because he's playing out of his mind and they're playing well.
John Gallagher's team hanging in there here at Duke. Back at Cameron Indoor Stadium, where Scott Van Pelt talked about having his favorite dunks as part of Sports Center after we get done a little later on tonight over on ESPN. We said Zion would qualify. At least a couple of strong candidates.
Yeah, you can always count on Zion Williamson. My goodness. You know, another thing that I really love about the kid, there was a Sports Illustrated columnist in town and wanted to allow the Big Four, if you will, for Duke to be on the front cover of their college magazine. And Zion said, what are you talking about? There's 5 of us, and he was referring to Joey Baker. That's a level of conscientiousness that I don't think he gets credit for. Again, a guy who's willing to do anything out there on the floor to win, but very conscientious off the floor as well.
Good takeaway by Jack White. J.R. Lynch off to the wing. A line drive three. A little too short for Romain Boxes. Barrett sets up Reddish. There's a triple.
That's exactly what Duke needed on the offensive end. Cam Reddish has really struggled on the offensive end, but that's what a great shooter does. If he can see one go down, might be tough sailing here for the Hawks, because he's missed some wide open looks, particularly in the first half.
J.R. Lynch blocked by Williamson. Barrett off to White in the corner for 3. Offensive rebound, Williamson. And we've got an injured player at the other end behind the play. That's J.R. Lynch. So while they take a look at J.R. Lynch, and hopefully he will get up and be able to walk it off. Flying through the air, though, a moment ago was Zion Williamson. And here's an interesting player and Rodney Rogers that you thought had some similarities to Williamson.
Absolutely, both left-handed, depth around the rim with either hand. I had the privilege to really get up off the floor. If Rodney Rogers were in this generation, he'd be Zion Williamson, which is Rodney Rogers 2.0. The only difference between the two, Rodney was a better shooter, and Zion has a little bit quicker twitch muscle, a little bit more quicker twitch muscles than Rodney did. So both of those guys could really elevate and finish.
Well, good to see J.R. Lynch get up off the floor, but he is in a lot of pain, and he's going to head back to the Hartford locker room.
Couldn't really see it. Almost looked like his leg just kind of buckled underneath him. He's in some pain right now.
That's the floor general for Hartford.
Yeah.
And they are a team that, granted, they know that they're not going to win this game tonight. But John Gallagher told us that the dividends from tonight's game happen in January when you go to Albany, when you go to Vermont, in America East, where they view themselves as one of those 3 or 4 teams towards the top of the league that should legitimately compete for a league championship, maybe a 1 seed. Trip to the NCAA tournament. This is where you get battle tested, even if you come up on the losing end, if you can prove against a team like Duke that you can hang in there. But the last thing you want is casualties. And when you lose your point guard, really root for J.R. Lynch to be able to shake this off.
Well, John Gallagher told us that he's the best leader, J.R. Lynch, that he's ever had. That's a huge statement as Lynch knocks down a 3. And we talked about earlier, especially with John Carroll out, having had 5 fouls, for this team to stay in this game and an opportunity to win it, the Hawks, number 12 in Scarlet, had to make shots, and that was a big one there.
That 3's off the mark from Trey Jones. Offensive rebound. And working on a double-double is R.J. Barrett, his first ever as a Duke Blue Devil. Barrett now has 14 points and 12 rebounds.
Look at Trey Jones's on-ball defense. Wow.
Good hands by Barrett.
DJ Mitchell cannot get by him. Oh, Lynch looks like he's coming back in. That's a good sign.
Maybe it was just a cramp, and maybe they were able to work it out quickly. As you said, Fonz, it didn't look like there was a twist of the knee or ankle. He went down and just immediately grabbed at the back of his leg. So that is great to see. Jason Dunn got caught under the basket and turned it over. Barrett in transition. Buries a 3. The largest lead for Duke.
And you cannot turn that basketball over against Duke. They average 23 points per game off of turnovers, which is second amongst major conference teams. They are explosive in transition.
Blagojevich hits a 3 off the feed from Dunn.
It's a huge shot, only 17% from 3. And folks, we talked about Hartford Hawks could not turn that basketball over because it ignites one of the best areas of this Duke team's offensive attack. And how about Reddish, eyes up, able to find R.J. Barrett wide open for 3.
We mentioned St. John's earlier, and R.J. Barrett's dad, Rowan, is in attendance. Not only did he play at St. John's, now the executive vice president and assistant general manager of Canada basketball. And there is really a wonderful influx of talent now from Canada, particularly the Toronto area, but really all over the nation of Canada. Basketball over the last 10 to 20 years has grown immensely in popularity. And how about some of the impact freshmen, not just R.J. Barrett, but who else on this list stands out to you?
I love Iggy Brastakas, 6'7" from Michigan, can do everything on the floor, can shoot the 3, can post. Dort has been absolutely sensational for Arizona State. Shittu is really good, and Lawson Not a lot he can't do out there on the floor, but outside of Duke's players, I've been really impressed with Iggy Brazdeikis. Just had a 27-point night 2 nights ago for Michigan. Another lefty, too. 3-ball, can put it down, get to the rim. Excellent offensive rebounder as well as Brazdeikis. That's another team, Bob, in Michigan that could potentially win it all. In my opinion, one of the top 5 teams in the nation.
Solid ball movement by Duke, and a reach-in foul called on Jason Dunn. That's his second.
This zone is going to have to find Reddish, number 2 in white, because he's looking like he wants to score right now. Finally got one to go.
Boston. Good hands along the baseline by Max Twyman. And J.R. Lynch ended up with the loose ball. Saturday on ESPN, we've got an afternoon college basketball doubleheader. First at 3:30 Eastern, we tip it off with a couple of old Big East rivals. Georgetown at Syracuse at the Carrier Dome, and then Duke takes on Yale right here at Cameron Indoor. You can always watch it live as well on the ESPN app.
Yeah, Syracuse struggled early, but their point guard Frank Howard is back, which will help both the offense and the defense. Here we go.
Zion Williamson hangs from the rim.
Do you think that one or the first one would get on SVP tonight?
Done for 3. That's no good. He might have some more before this one's over. As White's got the rebound. And Duke will push tempo. Here comes Trey Jones. Leaves it for Reddish. White kept it alive on the offensive glass, but J.R. Lynch the other way. Agievich, no good. Offensive rebound to Twyman. Ball movement sets up J.R. Lynch. That 3 won't go. Barrett fouled. Count the bucket. And he'll shoot 1.
One freshman and now another freshman, Zion Williamson, out in transition, punishing the rim. Look at this. Oh!
Is that the LaFonso Ellis comparison?
Inflicting pain on the rim.
5 minutes, guys.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Bob Wischusen, LaFonso Ellis, under 8 minutes to go here at Cameron Indoor, and a 63-45 Duke lead. We basically, I think, understood we would arrive at this point at some point. But kudos to Hartford for making this as competitive a game as it was until about the under 12 timeout here in the second half. And R.J. Barrett now has 20 or more points in 8 of Duke's 9 games.
Unreal.
He has really been consistent.
Yes, he has. Good ball movement.
Weatherington throws up an air ball. White for 3. Williamson puts it in.
If you don't get a body on number 1 in White, not that that helps anyway, but you have no shot at keeping him off the glass. Good shot.
Nice shot fake. Can't finish. Blagojevich comes up short. Gets the offensive rebound with the left hand. Hooks it up on the rim. That won't go. And here comes Zion Williamson. Has his pocket pick. Good hands by Twyman. Foul called on the drive by J.R. Lynch. Double-double now for Zion Williamson as well. 16 points, 12 rebounds. That is his 3rd so far this season. And Duke, they've got the superior athletes, clearly, absolutely. And that shows with the fast break points.
And they're so unselfish, and they know they're going to get it. And so as an athlete, you know you're going to get it, you run hard. And that's exactly what Duke does. Their wings get out and run incredibly hard to the rim. Barrett's got to touch that foul line.
Floater comes up short for Trey Jones. Extra pass to Wetherington.
And those are those open looks that you have to be able to make, especially when you're playing against a defense as good as
Barrett throws it down.
Max Twyman, number 20 in Scarlet, you could tell, had made up his mind that he did not want to take a charge and got caught in between. You got to take it or get out of there.
In football, we call that a business decision. Lynch, it's a three. Timeout called by John Gallagher.
Hey, folks, R.J. Barrett gets credit for this, but look at Jones's eyes always up and find a streaking Barrett, and one of the great finishers in all of college basketball with either hand. But the guy that gets it started on the offensive end for Duke is Trey Jones, number 3 in white.
Well, Trey Jones came into tonight back-to-back games with no turnovers. He already has 3 games this season with 7 assists or more and no turnovers. Now, John Shire is part of the Duke coaching staff. He holds the Duke record with 3 of those type of games in a season. So Trey Jones has already tied the Duke record for most games in a season with 7 or more assists and no turnovers.
That's absolutely incredible. And I knew he was a really good passer, got a chance to see him in high school. What I didn't know about him, that he was such a good one-on-one defender. Coach K thinks he's in the category of a guy like Bob Hurley or Wojo with his ability to be able to defend one-on-one out in space. But you got to slap that floor if you want to be Wojo.
Reddish, a little too strong. Here comes Wetherington. 5 minutes to go. Laurier the rebound. The lob, and that hit the side of the backboard, missed time. Jones to Laurier, but then Jones with the takeaway and the layup.
So clever, great instincts. Trey Jones showing us a little bit of everything tonight.
Fatigue starting to set in for Hartford, and Duke taking advantage. Another dunk for R.J. Barrett.
Way too much dribbling in the half court right now for Hartford, and to your point, they don't have a lot of depth. Maybe 7 guys looking for an 8th, and with John Carroll out of the game, their best player, number 5 in Scarlet, they don't have a deep well to go to, and they're starting to really impact the Hawks on both ends of the floor.
Another turnover. Alex O'Connell finds Laurier.
That's the 8th dunk of this game. And Bob, I think that's the biggest difference between this Duke team and the Duke teams of the last 2 years. This team is really committed to guarding you one-on-one, and their team defense in terms of their help and rotation have been superb this year.
Barrett is fouled. Will step aside. Duke pulling away with 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go. And staying on a winning track, Chris, is Duke, 74-48, pulling away from Hartford. Now through December 6th, you can bid on signed shoes from Coach K. Jim Boeheim, and NBA players like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant. Bid now on ebay.com/ESPN. All of this with the proceeds going towards RV Week and the V Foundation for Cancer Research. Wondering the LaFonso Ellis signed sneakers would fetch what?
Probably 2
on
cents
eBay.
at
Not
the maximum.
true. Not
At the very maximum.
You sign a pair of sneakers, I'll sign the fork I used at the media buffet. And we'll put them head to head and see who gets more.
I'll bet you the fork from the media buffet gets a lot more than a sneaker from eBay.
It'd be more well used, at the very least.
And once sanitized properly, it can be reused.
Zion Williamson back in the game. R.J. Barrett still on the floor for Coach K as well. And some pressure from Duke. Weatherington behind the back. Coast to coast. That's blocked from behind by the hustling Deloria. Here's the hit ahead to Williamson. Throws it down.
Bob, I bet that rim is going anybody but Zion. He absolutely punishes the rim when he goes to the rack.
Zion Williamson with a steal. Lays one off the backboard for Barrett. Weatherington no good from three. Tapped out by Williamson. These guys can be fun to watch, especially when they're this unselfish.
Well, and again, we talked about it earlier. That's why they run so hard. Zion Williamson could go dunk this, but the unselfish play off the glass, and how about the finish over the top? Where are we at, Rucker Park? That's incredible. The timing, R.J. Barrett way up to get that one. My goodness, I remember when coaches used to frown on lobs, not to mention lobs off the backboard. That was sensational.
Well, Zion Williamson's mom was a track athlete in college. His biological dad was a defensive end at NC State. Wow. So you got a track athlete marrying a football player, at least at the start. His stepfather, Lee Anderson, was a guard at Clemson who coached him in basketball.
How about that?
So you combine all of those elements, put them all in the pot and stir it up. You get this kind of an athlete that's this polished a basketball player. But the Clemson connection was the one that led a lot of Clemson folks to think that was where he was going to go. I called Notre Dame against Clemson last year with Dick Vitale on Clemson's campus. And it was the weekend that Zion Williamson was making his decision about where he was going to go. As Goldwire cruises in for two. And we had this great idea. We were going to go to a local bar on Saturday night after the game was over in Clemson. And we were going to tape the reaction of all of the fans in the bar when Zion Williamson announced that he was going to go to Clemson and then send it back to SportsCenter. And they were going to play this video of this Clemson bar exploding in joy because they got Zion Williamson.
What happened?
What do you think the video looked like when he made his decision? It was a bar full of people that you think all collectively had their dog stolen. They were miserable.
Mass depression.
Now, that also made for good TV, and we put it on SportsCenter. We sent that video back as well, but it was not the video we were expecting to get in the Clemson campus bar when Zion Williamson put the Duke hat on, or however it was that he made his announcement. Comparing him to different guys, different styles all night. How about, and this one's a little bit of a stretch, but if Grandmama and Charles Barkley teamed up, would they produce Zion Williamson?
The strength, broad shoulders, and explosive power of Grandmama, and the skill and undersized power forwardness, if you will, of Charles Barkley.
That's the one you save comparison-wise for a 32-point game with 58 seconds to go.
I started to lay out on that one, but I think my producer would have got mad at me. Oh, man.
Well, John Gallagher has put some of his walk-ons in as a group that now gets a chance to say at some point during their collegiate careers they played some basketball on this floor.
Special place, Cameron Indoor Stadium.
You played here twice.
Yes, 0 for 4 against Duke during my career.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
I just like to be honest. I asked Coach John Gallagher if I can get 10 minutes in this game tonight to see if I can make up for all those L's that I took.
Nick Chilovich is able to draw the foul. So a player that averages 1 point so far this season in 4 total minutes played finds his way into the box score in a game against Duke at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Yeah, he'll remember this one for the rest of his life. Extra copy of the stat sheet going to number 10 tonight. Yeah, I got to give this Hartford Hawks crew a lot of credit. I mean, short on numbers, and they controlled the tempo of the game, especially with the 2-3 zone. They were patient in their offense, moving it from side to side, able to get dribble penetration. But
if you don't know America East, Vermont, tough place to play. Albany, tough place to play. That is a conference where you play the championship game of your league tournament on the home floor of the highest remaining seed. So you're going to go to places that are cauldrons. They will take this experience with them tonight and build off of it, I would think.
Trust me, there's no one in the America East with this kind of size, length, and athleticism. Be a huge benefit for the Hawks.
But Duke wins it going away, 84-54. And you can tell Mike Krzyzewski had a lot of respect for this coaching staff for Hartford, and also for the seniors and how they play when we talked to him before the game. Yeah, very mature approach to the game, but this game all of a sudden was taken over by the athleticism and speed of Duke. Coming up next here on ESPN2, it's UNC Williamson and North Carolina, so we'll keep it right here on Tobacco Road. That game coming up at the top of the hour. Right now it's back to the studio. Dallin Cuff and Sean Farnham standing by with Chris Carter. Chris?